Available now. Link below.
A hearing on the grave threats posed by the Chinese Communist Party has been derailed by an explosive partisan clash between Republican James Comer and Democrat Jamie Raskin. As Comer attempted to expose the alarming extent of CCP infiltration into American life, Raskin hijacked the conversation, steering it towards a contentious debate over the financial records of the Biden and Trump families. The hearing quickly devolved into a verbal brawl with accusation of Trump obsession and the need for therapy flying back and forth. Meanwhile, as our leaders engage in petty bickering and personal attacks, the CCP continues its relentless campaign to undermine our nation from within. In the special report, we'll dive deep into the shameful spectacle and explore why it's more than critical than ever for our leaders to put aside their differences and confront this existential threat head on. You don't want to miss my final thought. And just like the partisan divide in Washington, rising energy costs are tearing American families apart. With a record 20 million households struggling to keep the lights on, it's clear that the greedy power companies are more interested in lining their pockets than helping hardworking Americans make ends meet. That's why I'm excited to tell you about this game-changing device that can help you slash your power bills and stick it to the utility giants. This incredible gadget optimizes your home's energy use, extends the life of your appliances, and puts more money back into your pocket every month. Be sure to click the link below for a risk-free 60-day trial and a whopping 65% discount and free shipping. Visit don'twastepower.com now before they sell out. Now, in a hearing that should have been dedicated to addressing the clear and present danger posed by the Chinese Communist Party, partisan bickering and personal attacks took center stage, obscuring the critical issues at hand. As House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer attempted to lay out the alarming ways in which the CCP is infiltrating every facet of American life, Democrat Jamie Raskin couldn't resist the temptation to steer the conversation away from this pressing matter. Watch the fireworks now.
I wonder if you can help us figure out where we've come as a committee, Professor Snyder. About a year ago, our GOP colleagues began heralding an FBI form, FD 1023, that recorded allegations that President Biden acted corruptly in Ukraine and tried to promote these as credible allegations. It turned out that these were lies, and the person who was promoting them has been indicted for lying to the FBI and constructing a false record. It turns out that he was up to his neck in connections to Russian foreign agents, and yet our colleagues at various points called this a smoking gun, said it showed proof that the Bidens took bribes, and so on. Chairman Jason Smith, for example, said this was a smoking gun, and it was the definitive proof that the Bidens took bribes. It's obviously been dropped, and yet this was the genesis of our investigation. How do we understand?
That's just simply not true, but go ahead.
I'll yield to the chairman if you want to take some more time.
No.
Well, you can use your time.
Are you saying the bank statements are Russian disinformation, that the Bidens took $9,000 from China?
I agree you've been talking about bank statements for more than a year, but they don't show anything other than there was no crime.
So it's okay for, as Tony Bobolinsky said, for China to bribe Joe Biden's family with $9 million.
But that's the lie that's been discredited. I mean, where is your impeachment investigation? If Joe Biden took a $9 million bribe from China, why aren't you impeaching him for that?
Well, who says we're not?
Well, I can invite Mr. Moskowitz to come back in. Do you want to move for impeachment today? Because I thought that was your main agenda item. You said it was the paramount priority of the committee.
No, this is a hearing on China, and you all have an obsession with Russia and Trump. It's disturbing.
We can talk about China and Trump or Russia and Trump.
You need therapy, Mr. Raskin.
No. You need therapy. You're the one who's involved with the deranged politician, not me, okay? I've divorced myself from Donald Trump a long time ago. You're the one who needs to disentangle from that situation. And I will tell you this. If you believe that it would have been illegal for Joe Biden to take $5 million from Ukraine, it certainly would have been. What do you think about Donald Trump taking more than $5 million from the Chinese government while he was president?
Well, we know that Donald Trump had a legitimate business that he talked about and he campaigned on.
The legitimate business was the White House.
What business?
He sold the White House.
Oh, give me a break.
He was
what business was what business were the Bidens in? What business did Joe Biden's family own? What business were they in? Did they have hotels? Did they have a social media company? Did they have golf courses? Did they have casinos? Did they have office buildings?
Mr. Chairman.
What business? Did they have an energy
Mr.
company?
Chairman, we have spent tens of millions of dollars pursuing
Joe
Biden, and you have not identified a single crime.
You are
Really?
lying. That
Really?
is a lie. We have not spent $10 million.
Hey, how much have you spent?
We haven't spent hardly anything.
Oh, it's been for free. Okay. All right. Well, in any event, wait, you know what? Then we get what we paid for it because you got nothing. You got nothing on Joe Biden.
No. Answer
You've
this
not
question.
named a single
this
crime.
question.
No,
what did the Bidens do? What business were they in? Why did they get
can I answer
millions
that?
and millions of dollars?
Well, no, I would like
Can
to
I
ask you
answer
a
what
question.
you
because-
You start. What
Okay,
did the Bidens do?
I don't know
What
who you're
business
talking
were they
about.
in?
Well, what business is the Comers in? You're talking about lots of people. There's lots of people in the
I'm
family.
a farmer.
Your
I have
impeachment-
land. I
Your
lease land.
impeachment
I sell honey.
investigation must identify
What did
a
the
high
Bidens
crime
do?
and misdemeanor.
What did they do?
I'll
for
tell
the
you what Joe
millions of
Biden
dollars?
did. He was a senator of the United States. Then he wrote a book, and he said he made the most money he ever made in his life, millions of dollars on his book, and he gave $1 million.
That's
away
what
to
his
charity.
family did. That's why Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Romania, China, Russia. That's why they paid the Biden family money because of Joe Biden.
None of those governments paid anyone any money.
Somebody needs therapy here, but it's nobody on our side of the aisle, okay?
All right,
Because
enough.
no,
Back to the
honestly,
China hearing. Back to the China
you
hearing.
had your chance.
Order,
I would
order.
like my time restored.
Well, no, your time was
I would like
expired.
you-
I've
no,
given
you
3
interrupted
extra
me.
minutes.
I want my
No,
time
you had
restored.
your time. You went above, and I let Miss Thornton go a minute.
You know what?
Here, sit down, everybody. Come back. This is about China. We asked a simple question. Now, Miss Presley, you're out of order. Sit down.
Mr. Chairman,
You're out of order.
Mr. Chairman,
No.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
can I make a motion that we take a break for 5 minutes?
We're going to keep going. We'll let the record show that Mr. Raskin could not answer the question.
First of all,
what did the Bidens do to receive the money?
Let me start with this. My last name is Raskin, okay? We've sat next to each other for more than a year. You don't have to add the S. Number 2, I would like my time restored. And number 3,
No, you have
have
your
not
time. You're
identified
out
a
of
single
order.
crime.
No.
Well, what is the crime that you want to impeach Joe Biden for and keep this nonsense going?
Well,
Why? What is the crime? Tell America right now. You
Well,
can have the rest of
you're
my
about
time.
to find out.
What
very
is the
soon.
crime?
You're about to find out
Name
very
it.
soon. Chair
But we
now
inhabit
recognizes
a
Mr.
propaganda
Biggs from
experiment.
Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, man. Fireworks on Capitol Hill today. The verbal sparring began when Comer accused the Democrats of being obsessed with Russia and Trump, suggesting that they were in need of therapy to overcome their fixation. Raskin countered by claiming that he had long since cut ties with Trump and that it was Comer who required professional help. This exchange set the tone for a hearing that quickly devolved into a partisan circus with substantive discussions about the CCP threat taking a back seat to political grandstanding. Expert witnesses were on hand to testify about the CCP's insidious tactics, including the use of economic dependence and foreign proxies to further their agenda. Comer rightfully called out the federal government and certain Washington figures for failing to take the threat seriously. However, the gravity of these revelations was overshadowed by the continuous partisan sniping that dominated the proceedings. Meanwhile, House Republicans' efforts to impeach President Biden have hit a wall as they struggle to agree on a unified plan of action. This lack of cohesion within the GOP serves as a distressing reminder of the disunity that plagues our political system, even in the face of a common adversary as formidable as the CCP. The Chinese Communist Party is employing every trick in the book to undermine our nation from within, and they're making alarming progress from infiltrating our academic institutions and businesses to manipulating our media and public discourse. The CCP's influence campaign is both far-reaching and deeply troubling. It's a shame our elected officials seem more interested in scoring political points than addressing this existential threat to our way of life. As the hearing devolved into a series of personal attacks and partisan grandstanding, it became painfully clear that many of our leaders are more concerned with their own political fortunes than with the security and well-being of the American people. This shameful spectacle underscores why so many citizens have lost faith in our government's ability to protect us from the looming threat of the CCP. Now, the CCP is playing a long game. They're willing to use every underhanded tactic at their disposal to achieve their goals, From economic coercion to cyber espionage, from propaganda to political influence, the Chinese Communist Party is waging a multi-pronged campaign to weaken our nation and assert their dominance on the global stage. It's high time that our leaders wake up to this reality, start treating this threat with the seriousness that it deserves. Instead of engaging in petty partisan bickering and personal vendettas, our elected officials must put aside their differences and work together to counter the CCP's malign influence. This will require a concerted effort across all levels of government as close collaboration with our allies and partners around the world. We must invest in our own capabilities, strengthen our defenses against CCP infiltration, and expose their nefarious activities for all of the world to see. The American people deserve better than the theatrics and grandstanding that we witnessed in this hearing. They deserve leaders who will fight for them, not against each other. They deserve a government that puts the interests of the nation above the interests of any political party or individual. It's time for a reality check in Washington, and it's time that our leaders start taking the CCP threat very seriously. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. The partisan circus that unfolded during this hearing on the CCP threat is a disturbing reminder of just how broken our political system has become. While our elected officials engage in petty bickering and personal attacks, the Chinese Communist Party continues to make alarming progress in its campaign to undermine our nation from within. It is a shameful dereliction of duty on the part of our leaders, and it underscores the urgent need for course correction in Washington. We cannot afford to let partisan divisions and political grandstanding distract us from the clear and present danger posed by the CCP. The stakes are simply too high. It's time for our leaders to put aside their differences, roll up their sleeves, and start working together to protect our nation and our way of life. The American people deserve nothing less.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.